So like I mentioned at the break there, I wanted to show you something that I've used quite a bit over the years when I need the occasional panel for a raised panel door. Look what you can do with a scrap piece of material and a couple clamps. Here I'm creating what I like to call a paneling sled. That scrap piece of lumber slides right over the top of that wide surface engineered into the fence itself. Table is going to be tilted between 7 and 10 degrees, depending on how dramatic of a panel you want. Of course, I always like to use a feather board in the infeed side of that cut. It's going to hold that piece nice and firm up against that fence as the cut actually begins. Very, very important. Should also mention that every tool on the Mark 7 is dust collection or shop vac compatible. See what I just did there? Just plug my DC 6000 into that. That's your dust collector for saw and sander. Now it's just a matter of running those edges of your panel over the top of that blade, just like I'm doing here. Pretty much effortless. And I might point out something else. Look where your hands are. They're never in the danger zone of the saw. In fact, in this particular case, it's on the back side of the fence. Very, very safe. But the end result, that's what's important. Let me get these clamps off of here. I've yet to see a quicker, simpler, easier, safer way to create a beautiful, and I mean beautiful, panel for those raised panel doors. Look at that. That's doing it the right way. All right, let's move along here. Here's another conversion. I'm going from the table saw into the disc sander. Matter of raising the table up. That way I can slide the headstock out of the way. That'll expose the blade. Let me take the blade off of here. Open up that dust chute a little bit. And this conversion is really as simple as that. You're going to replace the saw blade with a big 12-inch diameter, commercial size disc sander. 3.5 pounds of precision machine steel. You can bear down all day long on this thing. It's never going to bend or warp on you. And look at the sanding table. It's huge. In fact, you can even make it larger because of the expandable table system. Imagine being able to take a 8-foot, 10-foot, 12-foot piece and sand the end of it. Just as easy though, you can do some very fine sanding work too, like you see me doing here. In fact, let me show you something I've never ever seen on any other disc sander. It's a technique called sanding to an exact length. Here's where this comes in handy. Let's say we're going to do 4 table legs for a coffee table, whatever, and you notice that your pieces aren't exactly the same length. So take the shortest piece in that bunch, bring it over to the disc sander side. We're going to use the fencer now as a backstop. Let me lock that down. Now you simply extend the sander to the end of that short piece. We're going to go over to our depth of cut dial, dial in a 0, lock it. Now every piece is going to be sanded to the length of that very first piece. Again, this is called sanding to an exact length. Now you don't have to worry about any kind of a wobbly or rickety type of a table. The end result's pretty spectacular when you do it like this. Come in handy on picture frame pieces as well. Look at that. Everything exactly the same length. Just as easy though, we can go from sanding wood to turning that sander into a beautiful metal grinding machine. Now you got a way to sharpen your carving chisel, your lathe chisels, or just shape metal. Nice. Moving along again. I'm going to remove the dust guard and the disc sander, replace it with my 1/2-inch drill chuck, and you now have a true furniture building machine, the horizontal boring machine. Horizontal boring machine is designed to typically handle the end or the edge of a board. Good example here. Let's say you want to make a full-size solid wood dining room tabletop. You take all the pieces in that project, find the good side, put a little mark on them, then simply stack all the pieces of that project one on top of the other. Again, you notice we're using the fence as a backstop. Let me lock that back down. And then you're going to take a square and just mark the number of dowels you're actually going to use in that project. Now the rule of thumb here is you want a dowel for every 6 to 8 inches of length or width. That's what I'm doing here. Once you have all your dowel positions located, you're going to take the very first piece in that project, and I always like to use or have the good side face down. Now you're going to simply, by raising and lowering the table, eyeball the location of that very first dowel pin hole. The key there is eyeball. You don't have to hit the center of that. Once you've locked that table in, you've locked in the distance between the top of the table and the middle of the bit. That becomes what's known as a common center line. Of course, I'm also going to use an exact length of dowel. Usually in furniture, I'll use 2-inch dowel, so I need at least a 1-inch hole drilled in each piece. Usually a little bit more, about a 1/16 of an inch more, leave room for glue. Once that's locked in, every hole's the same depth, and you're working on the same common center line. Now it's a simple matter of doing all your drilling all at one time in all your pieces, just like you see me doing here. There's piece number 1. Go right to piece number 2, and you do all your drilling, like I say, at one time. Once the drilling's complete, you're obviously going to put glue down each one of those dowel pin holes, followed by a dowel pin itself. You want to put glue, obviously, also on all the edges. And typically I would clamp this up, but today I'll just snap them together. But look at the end result. Perfectly flat and flush. Dead on perfect tabletops. Nice, huh? Now, typically, a lot of your drilling is also going to be done in the face of a board. That's where you need a good drill press in the shop. Watch how you convert. Tilt the table, raise the entire machine up, and you've got the finest 16.5-inch vertical drill presses on the market today. Look at the size of that table. Easily twice the size of a so-called commercial machine, with features you don't normally get, like this rack and pinion motion. Talk about fine tuning. And again, I can borrow the fence to do accurate straight line or inline drilling, like you see me doing here. Isn't that special? Well, how about combining all the features? The rack and pinion motion, of course the table tilts, and again we can borrow the fence from the table saw and use it as a support. But now you're doing specialty cutting. How about doing screw pockets this quick and this simple? Nice. Screw pockets, of course, how you attach the tabletop we've been talking about building to the rest of the table frame. I've yet to see another way to do it quicker and easier.